Welcome back to Straight Facts on Wednesday. I'm joined by the brilliant Don Husam. I've got Judge Mo with me as well. Big transfer stories to discuss. I'm not even sure what the boys are going to say today because I haven't seen them for a whole week, but lots to talk about. Arsenal, very busy in the news right now with Eze reportedly advancing. A bid reportedly in for Madueke. There's also Mosquera, the new centre-back, who has rejected a new offer from Valencia as he is pushing for a move to Arsenal. We're talking Liverpool. Have they dropped their interest now in Isak as they progress with Ekitike? We're talking Manchester United. Ollie Watkins. Is that the move to bolster United's front line? As more stories come out about that today. We're going through those deals, plus we're looking at whatever you guys want us to talk about as well. We're going to talk a little bit of Chelsea as well on the show, as they have officially announced João Pedro. What next for them? But as I say, get like buttons hit. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace. Gentlemen, how are you both?
I'm great. Look forward to hopefully Liverpool signing Guehi, Liverpool signing Isak. Hopefully that happens. And
very good start.
Look forward to the season, man. I can't wait. Liverpool playing like 10 days as well. Pre-season is back. That's the thing. Club World Cup,
everything is good.
Competition in the world is going to be done.
Are you? Do you want to start with your agenda for the show, Terry? You know, you're going to start with Man United and all stuff, or can we start the show with something else?
Why do we start with Man United? Who gives a fuck?
Can I actually say something else?
Go on.
Can I just start the show? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. I was on my solo show, and I did a show with Husam yesterday or something on Sunday on his channel. And I actually want to tackle something that has happened lately in the transfer news for everyone. And I'm being completely honest, and I want the chat, hit that like button because this is going to be fire. I promise you this. We have read tweets from David Ornstein that says that Isak to Liverpool is a possibility, but it is improbable. However, Husam gets with all his Liverpool people, and they actually do shows, and all the Liverpool channels as well. Terry has here, Jamie, Terry has other peoples, and we talk about Isak to Liverpool. How do Isak look with Liverpool, with Wirtz, even though they signed Wirtz for 100-something million, and they signed Frimpong and Kerkez, and we talk about Liverpool and Isak and how strong they are, even though it was mentioned that it's a low probability that it happens. For Arsenal the other day, David Ornstein has tweeted and said that Eze is close to Arsenal, and he's intrigued by the Arsenal thing. In the same time, he said that Arsenal have a separate deals for the strikers and the wingers, and they're looking for multiple targets. So I presented the argument to Husam about, can Arsenal sign Eze based on David Ornstein's tweet? That is not Footy Judge Moore reporting. That is Ornstein, one of the most credible journalists out there. Sign Eze. What do you think if Arsenal sign Eze? Victor Gyökeres now, it is reported that he's very close to Arsenal, right? Because the Cisco deal is stalled. And Rodrygo as well being benched for the third game in a row for Real Madrid might hand a transfer request, and Arsenal and Man City are the two teams interested in him. So the argument is, what if Liverpool sign Isak? We talk about it, everyone takes it serious, the league is over. Once we start talking that Arsenal might get Eze, Rodrygo, and Gyökeres, there are 2 points here. No one wants to talk about it, as it is impossible for Arsenal to do business, even though it is reported that Eze's deal can actually be paid on 3 years, so £20 million a year, which is basically cheaper than Kwanzaa to Bayern Leverkusen. And Rodrygo's price is £75 million only, which is
How is
only
it cheaper than Kwanzaa to Leverkusen?
£20 million a year is cheaper than what Leverkusen pays.
Paid in installments as well, more yani contract over contract.
But my mean, in a year, it is
yeah,
cheaper.
in a year, yeah,
million,
like as a price tag. Yeah.
Rodrygo is £75 million, which is less than Wirtz money. Basically, that is a deal that is reported. And the Gyökeres deal that might happen. But no one wants to talk about this possibility. What do Arsenal do? Can Arsenal win the league with these players? As it's an impossible thing for Arsenal. And we're Arsenal.
If Arsenal sign Rodrygo, Gyökeres, and Eze, they're favorites.
Exactly. Now comes the second point that I wanted to raise with the chat. Everyone now is still in Arsenal, regardless of what you do. There is no point, I'm going to say, that you're going to win the league. Everyone is saying, No, they will never win the league. I get it. There is a low possibility that Arsenal didn't do it. But this is exactly the Real Madrid situation. There is a 0 chance Arsenal beat Real Madrid. 0 chance. People on Twitter, everywhere in the media, Arsenal are not going to win the league. Man City are ahead of them. Even though Man City signed Reinders, Ait Nouri, Turkey, who might not start, and I don't know who else in this window. Arsenal, if they have these players, and by the way, it is reported that Arsenal might get these players, Arsenal should be ahead of City. They finished ahead of them last season. Both teams had injuries. Liverpool are favorites, of course, because they have Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk. But no one wants to actually talk about the possibility that Arsenal signed these players. I don't know why. Why it is okay for us to talk about Isak to Liverpool, but it is not okay for us to talk about Eze, Rodrygo, and Eucharist to Arsenal, plus Zubamendi, who's done. Why?
It is okay. It is okay for us to have the conversation, but I just don't think it's a possibility. I really just don't think
Why?
Okay, here's the thing. I think Rodrygo and Gyökeres is possible. I think Eze and Gyökeres is possible. I don't think Eze and Rodrygo is possible. I heard people saying stuff like, "Oh my God, this guy said this and this guy said that," and Eze is gonna play in the 8. Stop with the bullshit scenarios, you guys. Allow people are just making up stuff that just doesn't exist in reality. First of all, it's left-wing position because Arsenal intend on selling Martinelli. I think they're going to keep Trossard for the backup left wing, and they're going to sign one starting left winger. It is a World Cup year, which means Rodrygo wants to start for Brazil, Eze wants to start for England. They both play in the same exact position, which is left wing. I don't think they can sign Rodrygo and Eze at the same time, because you're not going to sign Eze from Palace to sit him on the bench. You're not going to sign Rodrygo from Real Madrid to sit him on the bench. People say right wing, that position is Saka's place. You're obviously not going to sign. And people say Odegaard backup, horse shit. Because Eze is not going to sign for Arsenal to sit on the bench. Eze is a player that wants to start Premier League games. So I think it's either or type scenario. It's either Eze and Gyökeres or Rodrygo and Gyökeres. The one that you mentioned in your monologue, which is Madueke, I think will happen because that's a backup type player. Like if I tell you Madueke will come to Arsenal to play backup right wing, you and Terry are not going to come off mute and go like, no way Madueke will accept being backup. No, he will accept being backup because it's okay. Like he will accept playing in that backup position. People have this false narrative in their mind that Arteta is somehow going to drop Odegaard. No, they're not. And Mo called up the Arsenal fans as well, who are making up like these like just ideal world scenarios where you have a player of Eze's caliber on the bench. That's not possible. Like that's not gonna happen.
But can we have a conversation now?
And Odegaard is Arteta's captain too, so he ain't gonna drop him.
Okay, hold on. Great. Let's have a conversation. Doesn't everyone in the last 2-3 seasons keep criticizing Arsenal Football Club, including myself, why you don't have quality backup? Why only Manchester City are the team that are allowed to have stars or good players to come in and battle for positions? Why is Eze intrigued by the Arsenal project? We all know that
when you say quality backup, name the backup. Name.
What do you mean? Nico Gonzalez, Reinders, Rodri, okay. Kovacic.
No, that's not backup. That's not backup.
Gundogan. Okay, five players that battle for 2 positions. 5 players.
Yes. So who's one of the starters guaranteed? Rodri,
guaranteed Rodri.
And Reinders, correct?
What about Nico Gonzalez for 50 million pounds?
Nico Gonzalez is the backup.
Okay, it's a backup for 50 million. So Nico why can't Arsenal sign Eze for 50, 60 million?
Madueke costs 50 million.
They can't tell everyone that comes to Arsenal cannot be the starter. Like it's impossible. Like, that's impossible.
Not everyone can be the starter, but there is levels to this. Don't tell me that Eze will sign for Arsenal to sit on the bench. That's not realistic. We have to be objective here. Liverpool won the league last season. Who was on the bench? Curtis Jones, Endo, Chiesa, players like this. These are bench players.
So how is he convinced? So can you explain to me how is David Ornstein saying that deal is different than the Wenger deal? How is he convinced to join Arsenal? It's reported an hour ago.
Okay, there's easy answers to this. I think Arsenal have spoken to Eze and have agreed personal terms in case Rodrygo says, I want to stay at Real Madrid, so they sign Eze. I think Eze is their plan B, not their plan A. I think
Okay,
their plan A is Rodrygo. They're waiting for this Club World Cup thing to finish.
we're
As soon as
going
the
in
club,
circles.
yeah, let me answer the question. As soon as the Club World Cup thing finishes, Real Madrid go home to Spain. I think Rodrygo will make a decision then. I want to stay. I want to leave. If he decides he wants to stay, then they're gonna sign Eze left wing.
Okay, we're going in circles. It is reported that Eze is not coming to be a winger. Okay, so that competition that
So
you're
where is he
creating
gonna
with
play
Rodrygo-
then?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
I'm not the manager.
Where he gonna start? Where?
I am
Do you know
not the manager.
what I
If you say he's gonna start in the 8, so who's being dropped? Rice?
I don't know.
Zubimendi?
I do not know. Maybe there is another word. Maybe Rice moves to the
I
6
don't
until
think-
Zubamendi gets embedded
Also,
in.
I just want to say one thing, Terry, just before you go. I want to make one statement clear. Arsenal fans in the chat, genuinely, the thing that's so jarring about you, and I saw like on Friday when
He's upset.
Staffy and Don cooked the fuck out of you both. The problem with you guys is you always listen to the messenger instead of the message because you're fucking idiots sometimes, and you're like, you have this us against the world narrative.
Who did Staffy and
There's
Don
people in the chat saying Eze is
They were
not
in
left wing.
Terry.
The literal front three of Crystal Palace this season is Eze, Mateta, and Sarr. So Eze played left wing. Go ahead, Terry.
First, I was going to say, who did Staffy and Don cook? Just before I make my point.
The Arsenal fans in the chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed the first part that you mentioned. I wanted to know who they cooked. I was on the show and I couldn't work out who they cooked. Look, we'll come to Eze in a minute. So viewers are going to come back to Eze. One thing I want to really agree on with what Mo said is when it comes to Arsenal, and I know I get a lot of stick for being positive about Arsenal. Sometimes I almost feel like I have to be because there's just so much negativity out there anyway. I almost feel like, because I've said that I think it's a mistake to pick Šeško over Gyökeres. I think it's a mistake, and we'll get onto this signing a bit later, to drop more than £25 million on Madueke. I think, I criticize those decisions as an example, but it's never enough for people. But what I always see when it comes to Arsenal and transfers is a very noisy group of people. It may not be a lot of them, but it's very noisy and very loud. And you get 3 stages, which is when they're linked to a good player, Zubimendi. Go back and look at all of these Arsenal fans back in January. PR won't happen. No way. This is nonsense. And it did. When they're linked to bad players, so equally, when outlets like last night, I got a lot of these negative gooners in my DMs. Why did you say we're advancing with Gyökeres? L'Equipe and Sacha Tavernieri said it. I reacted to it. Yeah, but you shouldn't be taking those outlets seriously. Okay, noted. Today, L'Equipe, Arsenal bid for Madueke. Same people. Fuck you, Arsenal. We're shit. So they're allowed to react to bad news from those outlets, but I'm not allowed to react to potential good news from those outlets. And that's what you see. Every bit of negative news is taken as very probable or the gospel truth. Anything positive for Arsenal is always played down. And then if and when they actually get a lot of the signings they want and need, we know what the next phase of this is going to be. Phase, ironically, a little pun in there. The next phase is, but it doesn't matter anyway because Arteta's shit and he's going to mess it up, which then makes you go, hang on. Then why did you moan for 3 months about whether you're getting the players early, late, or who you were signing? If a manager's going to ruin it anyway, there is zero need for you to comment on the transfers, is there? Because it's not even changed your mind about the potential of your season. And by the way, that isn't all Arsenal fans. That isn't Arsenal fans who like this player just like this one. There is a very loud group of people online when it comes to Arsenal. It doesn't matter what they do. The outlook is always bleak, to a point where an Arsenal fan who comes on my shows a lot that said we need 5 or 6 signings. They're tracking towards, 6 or 7 signings. They're tracking towards that kind of number. Some of them really good. I then started seeing him tweet yesterday, and he's like, yeah, well, you know what? Even with Rodrygo, even with Gyökeres, even with Eze, we've got the backups I said we needed, but I'm now looking at it, and I just don't like the way we played last year. So I think it's all just going to fall apart anyway. And I just sit there and think, you're entitled to that opinion. You really are entitled to that opinion. But at some point, I sort of look at that and think, are you just seeking the negativity here? Are you just seeking to be angry? Are you angry about something else and taking it out on football? It's the lack of objectivity. So I get where you're coming from to that original point, Mo, where no matter what you're talking about, where I disagree with you, though, we haven't even gotten to Eze yet, is when it comes to Isak and Liverpool, that's another one that gets shut down. Newcastle fans do not like that being discussed.
Yeah,
on
they start
any
jumping directly.
level.
It's only Newcastle fan, but Arsenal fans say it's possible. Chelsea fans say it's possible.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And as I say, what you then get is, Terry, but you're saying I can't criticize my club. No, I'm not even telling you how you should and shouldn't feel. I'm just stating that it's, for everybody listening to you, it becomes difficult to take you seriously when anything positive is mentioned. It's played down as fake, false, lies, won't happen. Then when it does happen, it's, yeah, but the other sign is a crap, or the manager's going to ruin it anyway. It just becomes difficult to listen, and maybe you don't get taken as seriously because everything is, there's always a way that, and rivals, I get why rivals would do it. But even then, for a 40-year-old man, as I nearly am, it's just, I see people talk about how good Zubimendi is, how good Eze is, how good Gyökeres is, and they'll sign for Arsenal. By the way, Man United go through this too, so maybe it's why it's like, feels like double bubble for me. I don't go, okay, this will be a great show today, or oh, I'm looking forward to watching so-and-so's podcast later. I can't wait to see how they break this down and talk about the players. And I listen to it for an hour, and suddenly it's everybody rewriting their history on these players and how shit they'll think they'll do. And I sit there and think, really? Is this what we're doing as grown men? You know, by the way, women wouldn't do this when they make content. Women would just be honest. It's a man thing. There's something about it. Must be something to do with penis sizes. I don't know. But it's just weird to me, man. It's just something about it where it's like, come on, you've signed Zubimendi. You're really heavily linked to Eze. There's got to be some excitement, some happiness out there. But yeah, I agree with you on that 100%.
Same for Liverpool. Same for Liverpool. We like I would say this. I've done shows and I've watched shows and shows where sometimes, or programs on TV, where people really didn't believe that Liverpool will win the title again. It doesn't matter what they did. It was believed that Liverpool will not win the Premier League title until they won it, and then they won it again last season. People that say Arsenal will never win the Premier League, I don't know, you're all over yourself, and I don't know what world you live in, because Arsenal might win the Premier League again. It's only the proof is that they were just they were one game away from winning the Premier League just 2 years ago. It took Youngman's son missing a chance for them to lose the league. It took a great comeback from Man City, or a great game by Foden for you to lose the league. The other thing is a Man United, which is great you mentioned. Oli Watkins today. Everyone laughing at Man United, their son Oli Watkins. You fuckers all liked my fucking Watkins 6 months ago. Just 6 months ago, everyone is saying Oli Watkins is a good striker. He's not that bad. I'm not saying he's Alexander Isak. Everyone is saying Mbuemo, Cunha, and Oli Watkins. Where is that going to get you? You're fucking one of the best front lines in the league at the current moment with these three guys. I'm not saying they're the best, but you went from Eucharist to Oli Watkins. So, okay, if Eucharist is not on the market, what do you want Man United to do? Like, fuck themselves? Like, don't do anything? Like, just go with Højlund next season? Is that what you want Man United to do? They start with Højlund? But then go now after Oli Watkins. Bro, it's all over Twitter, the banter about Man United signing Watkins. You went through, Eucharist wants Arsenal. Khalas, he's left. Khalas, Man United going to sign Oli Watkins, £40 million. Good signing, good striker, along with Cunha and Mbuemo. It's a good front line for Amram. No, bro, they're not going to do anything. These guys are going to get ruined. All of them are Man United.
Started from the Arsenal fans creating the us against the world narrative last season, when it's like, oh, the PGMOL hate us and the league hate us, and the only reason why we lost the league is because Mo Salah had this many penalties, and because David Coots sniffed cocaine, just incapable of actually taking a step back, going like, congratulations Liverpool, you're deserved league champions, we'll try again next season. Like, none of that shit happens. The thing is about the players that you're mentioning, even myself, yesterday, I spoke about 6 Arsenal transfer targets. I praised 3 of them, 4 of them, and I criticized 2 of them. The problem is, Arsenal fans are in a position now where they don't want you to criticize the club at all. Like, if I say Kepa's a shit keeper, he only cost 5 million. Yeah, okay, but I'm not talking about your accountant level. I'm talking about as a goalkeeper, I think he's shit. I'm entitled to that opinion. I don't like the player. I say Norgard is an upgrade on Jorginho, Husam, you're gaslighting. I say Eze and Rodrygo, I don't think both of them will sign, but both of them will be amazing signings. No one says anything because you're praising Arsenal. You know, I say Sesko's shit. Some random guy, Boston, or one of these, you know, Arsenal, Wayne, one of these guys who have Arteta's ball so down their throat will come here and go like, oh my God, if Arteta wants Sesko, what do you know? Do you know more than him? Yeah, guess what? I knew more than Klopp when I said we shouldn't sign Nunes. It's okay. No manager is God sent. We're not God sent. We make mistakes as well. We have all had bad takes on this panel. It's okay. It's normal. but we just have to have real conversations. Look, Arsenal now want to win the league. Let's bring this all back to football and forget all the narratives. Arsenal now want to win the league. The truth of the matter is, look, Arsenal sign Gyökeres, Rodrygo, they put themselves in an amazing position. Arsenal sign Gyökeres and Eze, they put themselves in an amazing position. And at the end of the day, and this is the ultimate point here, this is the thing that no one can deny. I'm sorry, regardless what you think, regardless whether you're Arteta in, Arteta out, Arteta in the middle, no one cares. Next season, even if Arsenal sign Terry Flowers, Judge Mo, and Tom Little, they have to win the league. Even it does not matter who Arsenal sign, because the pressure is all on Arteta's shoulders. The pressure is on the club to deliver. I understand that someone will say, oh my God, if Liverpool sign Isak, like, oh my God, it's over. And I get all that, but no one cares. Like, you have to win next season because the excuses have dried out and no one has time for you anymore. You have to win, and you have to win one of the two big ones. That's just my honest opinion. So, yeah.
I get where. Let's go for some of the chat here. First one says Don Skeeto.
Hey, Don Skeeto cooked you, Wayne. Wayne, if Arsenal were linked to Nunes, you'd do Nunes prop. That's the type of person you are. You're like the top Reds. You know, you want to know communist Merseyside? You're communist London. That's what you are.
I will say this: you want to see a cooking, join into Straight Facts on Friday, me versus Staffy. It is going to be a cookout to end all cookouts. And that's Staffy against me, by the way. All the boys in the Straight Facts group chat say he's going to ruin me. So make sure you're tuning in to that cookout on Friday where I'm going to get ripped apart. That'll be a fun one.
Staffy got a lot right at the same time. It's crazy, bro. Because of the Al Hilal take. Like, he made it that. No, I know what you're going to say, but the fact that they beat City is the thing that makes it like.
But that's still disingenuous, because what I also said is, you're right. If Bruno went to Al Hilal, they have a bigger chance of winning it. And Staffy agreed with me. We'll have the conversation on Friday.
Can we not talk about Al Hilal, please?
Sorry.
Can we not talk about Isak and Al Hilal and all the shit, please? Can we not talk about the shit?
It was just like, I get Bruno could have left to compete for this tournament, but it's what comes after that as well. That was the one bit that I found really interesting. So much respect for you, gents. Have a blessed day. Thank you, Liam.
Thank you, Liam.
A lot, my friend. I am willing to bet a limb Husam is not Lebanese.
Adil, you got it wrong. Adil, you got it wrong, Adil. You got it wrong, Adil.
Jordanian.
Bro, what limb are you cutting off now? That's what we need to know, Adele. What part of your appendage? Don't actually do it, by the way. It was actually a joke. We got to say that for the world now, because it's crazy. Patrick says, big up Terry, Mo, and Husam. Favorite show of the week. Hope you guys are good.
Love you, Patrick.
Takes. Thank you, brother. Mr. 0% is never wrong about Arsenal.
What a trophy.
Tell us next super chat.
Sorry, already done that one from Liam. This year says, to be fair, Trossard has 56 appearances. Martinelli had 33. I think if you are Eze, you know you are going to get. Going there means you don't play every minute unless you are a world-class player. You don't demand playing time.
Yeah, but I want to respond to this one. Eze going to Arsenal, Patrick, I think we'll want to start games of football, because Eze is a World Cup player in Eze's mind, because Eze wants to start for England. Think about the competition. Which left winger start for England? Who? Anthony Gordon? Who are the left wingers that start for England? Like, he's capable of beating any of them to a starting position. So
I don't think he's a left winger at all. That's what me and you disagree football wise. I don't think he's a left winger.
You're gonna tell me he's a left 10. But Arsenal don't play with a left 10. Yalla, وين بنحط Eze? Where is he?
Yeah, Habibi, Eze can play left, right, in the middle. Eze played in the 8. Eze played. Eze is not a player that just appeared last season.
You want to play Eze in the 8? Who's benched?
I don't know. There is one more thing. Let me give you an example. Do you think Zubimendi, when he signed for Arsenal, they guaranteed him that he would start over Partey and Rice?
That's what you said when you were doing Norgard prop.
What? And when did I?
You said that Zubimendi wants to start for Spain, and he's better than Partey, and he doesn't have injuries, and he's going to start.
And I'm asking you a question. Do you think Mikel Arteta gave him the assurances that he would start?
I thought he gave him the assurances he's going to start. Okay. That's why he left his boyhood club.
So you think like Partey was informed that he's going to be benched right away?
Probably.
هو Husam,
Probably.
you know and I know, and I've Terry knows, and the majority of the share, players, we've seen it in documentaries. I know players, I know professional players. People have conversations with managers. They go and ask, what is my rule next season? We all know that this happened.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I know.
So you think Zubamendi, so you think Eze easily could have had a, I don't know, could have had a conversation with Arteta, and
Yeah,
he's like,
and
yeah,
Arteta told him you're going to be backup for Odegaard, and he said, yes, sign me.
no, backup. You're gonna play in the left 8.
I don't think it's. I'll
Left
answer it.
8 is Declan Rice.
We
But I
need you.
Guys. I can answer this more directly than Mo. I think you'll have opportunities potentially on the left. Let's see whether or not the Rodrygo deal or another left player happens. But Eze can bench Odegaard. He's good enough to. And I think if Arsenal was sensible in telling him what his position is going to be, it's saying you're one of the main 13, 14 players that are going to be used. And I think that it's easier now to sell a start from the beginning of a time at a club. It's easier to sell the idea of being on the bench. Why? Because 5 subs can now be used. So even with a couple of injuries, you're still going to get onto the football pitch. But I think it will be very much in the mindset of, I don't think Eze will be brought into Arsenal and they'll be selling it to him, whatever position they offer him. It is not going to be you're a backup. It's going to be you are one of the main 13, 14 players used. And I think there were so many games last season where I don't know why they didn't bring Waneri on sooner. But having said that, the under-21s didn't bring him on in some games at the Euros that I was watching. So because he's young and he's inexperienced and his body's growing, so you can't always use him. We'll see what happens with him in future. But there's so many games where you needed Odegaard to come off, where Eze would have come on. And I know Arsenal fans don't like hearing this. But if Eze starts the season on the bench and Odegaard continues next season, as he did last year, where he's just not scoring and creating enough and not influencing games enough, and Eze's coming on and doing it, I think Arteta would drop him. I really do. I know a lot of people think, no, he's a captain. There's no way. He loves him too much. We will see. Equally, I am trusting what David Ornstein has said here, that they're looking at a left winger. He said winger, striker, and Eze. So the only where you could be right, Husam, and this is where I think Arsenal fans are still a bit jittery, it could be Gyökeres and Eze, but then it could be Madueke. And then depending on the role they're giving Eze, because again, I will say this, if Arsenal were buying Madueke to be the left-sided winger, that's ridiculous. That will get...
He's never going to be the left winger because he's left-footed. Arteta doesn't play with a left-footed winger. Otherwise, he would have come for Kudus.
Yeah, I agree with that. My view is it's very much, I think it's Eze. I think it's a left winger. I think it's a striker. The Madueke bid, it's either they're looking for an out-and-out backup for Saka, or an alternative if they don't get Eze, not so much the left winger. That's my personal interpretation. And even then, if they end up with Rodrygo or Anthony Gordon, Eze and Gyökeres, or Eze and Šeško, and then drop £25 million on a Madueke to be back up to Saka, I don't then think Arsenal fans will be overly bothered because you've got all those other positions filled. But for me, Eze is good enough to bench. The only player he isn't, he's not benching a striker because he's not one, and he ain't benching Saka. Outside of that, he can bench any other player in that team. There's even a world, and this is the thing about a player evolution. You may sign them to do a certain role, and they end up doing something a little bit different. You've seen that in the attack before. Ronaldo was signed as a right midfielder. He ended up becoming a right inside forward, then a left inside forward, and then at Real Madrid a striker. Players evolve. There is also this world where he comes in, and maybe Arsenal have the ideals to say, we want you to cover on the left when we need to, but you're predominantly going to play centrally and drift. There could be a world where he comes in and it works really well on the left, and the left winger they sign ends up on the bench. I mean, that would be a horrible situation for Rodrygo, but as long as Arsenal improve, it shouldn't really matter to Arsenal fans. Man United this summer, we're going by Gyökeres, right? I'm painting a mad hypothetical, but it should prove the point. You sign Gyökeres, but if Højlund's playing better and scoring more goals, I couldn't give a fuck because the team's playing well. And that is all that should matter to football fans. Although I do think we live in this world now where people care more, some care more about the player they backed doing well rather than their team doing well. Must have seen that at your clubs where someone that someone rates isn't doing very well and people will turn against the manager or the player that's in their position. But by and large, I think what it gives Arsenal when you look at Eze is great versatility as well as an excellent player because he can cover a couple of positions to a much higher level, in my opinion, than Trossard and Martinelli can. And it's about improving that squad.
Can I tell you, before you do the rest of the super chat, just a couple of one quick. Everyone knows that Arsenal shouldn't go to next season with any ifs. The biggest if at Arsenal last season was Martin Odegaard creating chances, because their midfield is one of the weakest in the league in terms of creating chances. And I think that they are bringing Eze as a safety net in case Odegaard does not perform as Terry said, which makes a lot of sense. As for Madueke, the Arsenal hierarchies are not idiots. If they sign Madueke as the main winger for them,
levels is off the charts.
How?
Yes, you're bringing in Eze, so in case Odegaard does not perform. So what if
No,
Odegaard performs?
Well, so what?
Eze has to battle for a different position.
Yeah, Eze is now a bench player.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Let me give you an
sense.
example. Hang on. Let me give you an example. What if next season, whose position in the team is Wirtz coming in to replace?
Szoboszlai.
Easy. Okay. Again, so he's been brought in to instantly replace him. But what you've said there about Eze being the player in case Odegaard doesn't play well, it's the reverse, but the outcome can be the same for you. So if Szoboszlai starts next season and he's killing it, and every time he comes on, he's banging in goals and he's amazing, and Wirtz is looking maybe a little bit slow, a little bit behind the pace, your manager is going to pick the player over a period of time. Not maybe not one bad game and a good sub appearance, but 2, 3, 4, 5. Szoboszlai starts a Champions League game, kills it. Wirtz comes off on the bench, can't control it properly. There could be a world where Szoboszlai is starting and Wirtz is on the bench, irrespective of the money. And as much as there'll be criticism of the player if he doesn't deliver, at the end of the day, yes, Eze is probably being told there's opportunities on the left, there's going to be opportunities centrally. There may be a case where he's being told that he's not going to be on match day one the starter, but it doesn't mean he won't start. He is going to be told that he's an integral first team player. You know, even if we want to reduce this down to the way FIFA...
Yeah, but forget what ifs. So what's the conversation like with Eze then? If you're Arteta, I'm Eze. Yalla, tell me, what are you going to tell me to make me leave Crystal Palace and come be a bench player?
He literally just go back in the video.
So you're saying I'm going to have opportunities to play. We don't know. You might play in the 10. You might play on the left. If Odegaard performs, you're going to be on the bench. If Rodrygo performs, you're going to be on the bench.
I think Arsenal are going to do exactly the same that Palace have done with Eze, but at a higher level. In his time at Crystal Palace, he's played multiple positions. And I think we are obsessed now in English football with we need specialists in every role. That's bullshit. You have a specialist in every role, your team will have no versatility, will struggle to adapt in games, will struggle to adapt when there's injury problems. You need versatility in your squad. And Eze is that. Versatility doesn't mean you've got some bit part role. You know, I'll go right back as far as, by the way, a player nowhere near the same level of technical ability. John O'Shea at Manchester United, okay? Could play left back, right back.
John O'Shea is not Eze level.
But it's not the point being made. One, Arsenal barely have to sell themselves for a player to want to join them from Crystal Palace. There is no correlation between the size, the history, the prestige. There's Champions League football on offer. For me, it is not a far cry for them to say, we are looking, of course, Eze's going to know they're looking for players on the left because it's so well publicized. We're looking for players on the left, but I think what they're telling him is we see you as someone that can play on our left and play for us centrally. You're going to be an important member of the first team. You're going to play easily, appear in 50 games a season. Some will be from the bench. And the better you perform, the more consistent you are, the more of them will be from a starting position. That, for me, is a good enough sell on a basic...
And then you tell Rodrygo you're going to start, but if you don't perform, it's going to be Eze ahead of you.
This is where...
Odegaard, you're my captain, and if you don't perform, Eze is going to take your place.
If Arteta isn't doing that, then forget Arsenal. The Arsenal Football Club are stupid. Every single player, you get this whole the player only wants to join if he's guaranteed a first team berth. I don't think even the most arrogant football players in the world, they must know in their heart of hearts, even when they ask for a guaranteed place, if they're playing shit and somebody else is playing badly, they're going to be dropped. Most top teams and top managers through the history of this game have started good performing players and dropped players that are inconsistent or playing badly. This has happened consistently. The only time you don't see it happening is when a squad's fucked, like with Rasmus Højlund last season. But we know that Rasmus would have been dropped if there was, because Obi wasn't ready. And I actually agree with the manager. Playing him in a dysfunctional team when he isn't ready can have longer term damage to a player. But Arsenal's squad isn't in that situation, nor is their team. I just don't think it's realistic to all sit here and go, even if Eze is performing like Messi and Odegaard's dropping stinker each week, there's no way he starts in that position. And if we sign Rodrygo, there's no way, even if Rodrygo's crap, Eze is going to start these games.
No one's saying that, but you're going off of ifs. I'm talking about the conversation before the player joins.
Yeah, but then again, you're saying we are going off ifs. But any conversation we can pretend we know might have happened and if we weren't in the room. At the end of the day, what Arsenal should be striving for, the same as your club has done this summer. Your club has been praised for adding quality. You've added Frimpong when you've got Conor Bradley. Why is that important?
Frimpong starts. Bradley's the bench player.
Exactly. But Bradley's really good. And Bradley is good. And what Bradley is going to do every day in training, every minute of training, is fight. Because you know what Bradley wants? Bradley wants to bench Frimpong. And Slot will bench Frimpong if Bradley starts performing better.
Frimpong is not of Eze caliber.
Oh, I think Frimpong's absolutely brilliant. By the way, who covers on the right-hand side?
Currently, no one.
Okay. Let's say Frimpong starts playing there. If Frimpong starts scoring and assisting and Mo Salah starts falling off, do you know what will happen? Frimpong will start there and Salah will be on the bench. All clubs do this.
The Mo will not be benched, I promise you.
If he was stinking up the game every
he
week,
went 9 games without a goal and still started the 10th game and scored.
Again, but he was playing well. But if somebody else was, but he had no cover. You just said it yourself. But if he was scoring no goals and playing badly and Frimpong was banging them in, assisting, creating, and was amazing, he'd probably get dropped.
All my point is, this is my point, okay? I think Arsenal will sign now as a report because we can only go based off reports. None of us here are ITKs. I think Arsenal will sign Gyökeres. So now that's your striker sorted. In my opinion, I think they're going to sign one of Eze and Rodrygo. My logic is very simple. They're waiting for the Club World Cup to end and Rodrygo to make a decision. Rodrygo says no, Eze is the new left winger. For all the irritating people in the chat who say left 10, Arsenal don't play with a left 10. The 8 is Declan Rice. You're not going to drop Declan Rice. So obviously he's going to be a left winger. So yeah.
Who starts for Man United, Husam? Who starts for Man United?
Who starts for Man United where?
They're going to sign a striker, right? So who starts in the midfield? Man United have Amad Diallo, Cunha. They're going to sign Mbeumo. They have Casemiro. They have Ugarte. They have Bruno Fernandes. So who starts for Man United? Who do you think starts?
Diallo's going to play wing back. This is well documented.
Okay.
Cunha and Mbeumo are going to be the 10s. The new striker is going to be the starting striker. And the 2 DMs, and even himself, Terry will tell you this, they're looking at buying a new player to play alongside Bruno. And if not, I think it's probably going to be like an Ugarte or someone like that.
Ugarte. So Bruno is going to start. So you think Mbeumo and Cunha got guaranteed that they are starters?
Yeah, of course.
No, they don't. And this, I'll give you an example of where they don't. I'll give you an example of where they don't. Let's say Delo plays a game at right wing back and is amazing, and Ahmad starts right 10 and is amazing, and this becomes a consistent pattern, and Mbeumo's doing well but not as good as them. There's a very good chance that Mbeumo's on the bench. And I know I gave the Mo Salah.
You keep saying if. We're talking as things stand, Terry. We're not saying ifs. If anything can change. What if Højlund scores 10 in 10? He's going to start. We know this.
I actually don't think that Mbeumo, Cunha, a striker, and Bruno Fernandes can be on the pitch together.
No, but he can, because Terry will tell you right now that Amorim experimented with Bruno in the 6 at the end of the season. Same thing Slot did with Szoboszlai. Played him deep.
But we have to go with the ifs on this, Sam, because we can't define the reason for signing. If Eze starts the first game of the season on the bench, that doesn't mean within 10 games he's not going to be a regular starter. This is, some players come in as starters. They're bought as starters. And your manager, Klopp, who you love, was famed for phasing them in for over 6 months. This
but
could
Guehi is
also
going to Liverpool. Guehi is going to Liverpool, by the way, in a World Cup year. Guehi is going to Liverpool. They're not selling Konate. Remember this.
And guys, and this is why I say we can't base the potential conversation of what Eze is being told on the first team of the season. To my point, that yes, Mbeumo is probably going to start, in theory, most of the games, but he's got to play well and deliver. If somebody else steps into that 10 role and kills it, there's a chance he's on the bench. We've got a young kid joining who's a left wing back, Leon. Listen, I hope his ability is as good as his mentality. His father was asked a question of what's your advice to your son, and he said, "Son, don't fucking let me down. Don't do any crazy shit. Work hard. Basically, if you party too much over there and you ruin this opportunity, I'm going to beat the shit out of you," is what he said, which is amazing. And the player was asked a question like, "How do you see things going at United?" And he goes, "Well, I think a lot of people feel I'm going to go there and get put out on loan." But he says, "I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to impress everybody. I'm going to kill it." And he may not deliver it. His mouth may not be able to cash that check, right? Like his ability may not be able to cash that check. But at the same time, that's what I expect. So even if you're saying to Eze, look, you'll play someone on the right, left, you'll play someone in the central areas, you're going to be an important first team figure, you're going to get a lot of game time. That could be a good enough pitch. That could be. And I think if you sit down, intricate detail, the money you're offering him to, that'll be enough. But I think it's weird to think that he can't stop other players in that team from starting with good performances. Why? Because the history of football dictates it. And
no one argued.
And the point I'm making but that's how you said it to him. And
no, I'm saying as things stand, Terry. Yeah, as things stand. Okay. Can I just say one sentence and then I'm not gonna say a single word after.
Let me ask you a question.
I promise I'm gonna let you have the final word. I just want to say one sentence. As things stand, Diallo's gonna play wing back. Kunyan and Mbeumo are gonna be the 10s. The new striker will be the starter. The 2 DMs is gonna be Bruno and Ugarte / Bruno and new signing. That's what we know as of today. You're talking about during the season. What if player X plays like shit? Yes, he's going to get dropped. I get that part. But that's not my argument. I'm talking about you speaking to a player now. When you speak to Eze now, you're not going to tell him you're going to sit on the bench unless Rodrygo's shit and Odegaard's shit, and then we're going to bring you in.
Full circle again. Full circle.
So first question is, how long is as of now? How long a period is as of now?
Until the season starts, because then form kicks into play.
Okay, so your sales pitch to a player is what's going to happen between now and a ball being kicked. That doesn't even make sense. You're selling him.
No, your sales pitch is what's going to happen on the pitch.
No, but yes,
to him now.
Hang on. You are not going to do a sales pitch for a player you're given a 5-year deal to, and base your whole pitch on pre-season and the first game of the campaign. You are basing it. Yes, it's exactly what you just said. No, you said on the here and now.
That's not what I said at all.
Yes, it is.
I'm saying, Arteta, now sit down with Eze. I'm talking to Eze, right? I'm saying, Eze, I want to sign you to come play for Arsenal Football Club. Yep. Eze is going to ask, where am I going to play? Where do you see me playing? Arteta's response cannot be, you are going to be our replacement for Odegaard and our replacement for Rodrygo. In case, insert Terry and Mo's statements, what if Rodrygo plays like shit? What if Odegaard plays like shit? That's not the statement. If you are speaking to Eze, you're going to go like, we've agreed personal terms with you. We are looking at playing you as our starting left winger, because Eze will want to leave Crystal Palace in a World Cup year to start at another football club. And that's been my argument.
But he's going to start games over the course of the season. He's pitched. This is what I think their pitch will be. You're going to start games on the left. You're going to start games centrally. You're an important first team player that's going to get a lot of minutes and is going to get a lot of game time. And of course, he's then going to say, and if you perform well and if you're delivering, you'll start more games. It shouldn't be any more than that. I don't think you should, unless you're signing a proven world-class star from one of the best teams in the world. If you're doing a Verts, right, and you're dropping all that money and everything else, you're probably telling him he's starting the season in your life. There are certain signings on that level. I don't know if Eze's in that bracket of profile. So I don't think the sales pitch is the same as trying to sign Mo Salah, as trying to sign, Victor Gyökeres would not take a deal where he's going to start the season on the bench because of his age, the goals that he scores, and the kind of hype that's around him right now. But I don't think it's a crazy pitch to turn around to Eze and say you're going to be a regular first team player that's playing in that's covering two, not covering as in the first teamers, but playing across two positions. And I want you to fight for a first team place. I would then want to see what Eze's response was. If Eze's response was no, I need a guaranteed berth, I'd be like, okay, well, has he got the fight? Has he got the hunger to start in the game? By the way, Verts knows when joining Liverpool that he's got Szoboszlai breathing down his neck. You need that competitiveness. And if he's a player that doesn't want the competitiveness, then he's not right for a top 6 team. So for me, I don't think it's a hard sales pitch for Arsenal to land Eze. Eze is an excellent talent, but he should be honoured that a club like Arsenal want to sign him, whether it's to start as a left winger, start as the 8, or cover both positions and play regularly. He should be absolutely bending over backwards, because playing for a team like that and delivering in a team like that gives you a much better chance of starting for England than playing for Crystal Palace. Whether that's right or wrong, playing for the big teams gets more eyeballs on you. So, and he'll be in the Champions League. So he's going to get loads of opportunities. I don't think Arsenal fans should.
I'm going to step in here and ask
2 weeks from now, we will see. I will not forget this conversation.
No. I'm gonna step in now, guys, and I'm gonna give Husam, if the people are allowing me to have the final word before we do the super chat. Husam, I want you now to sit down and pitch the idea of Mark Guehi to Liverpool in the World Cup year. He's the captain of Crystal Palace, with Konaté being there and Van Dijk. I want you seriously, Wallah al-Azim, pitch the idea to Mark Guehi.
Very easy answer. Guehi is going to be bench option number 1 for Liverpool Football Club. And the difference with Liverpool is Virgil van Dijk is 34 years old, literally a week from now. He's going to go into the season as 34 years old, so he cannot play every single game. So when Virgil van Dijk eventually leaves Liverpool in 2 years from now, Guehi is going to be the starting centre back.
No. Hold on. In a World Cup year, As of right now, Guehi is going to be bench option number 1 for Liverpool Football Club. So he's going to be our first choice centre back off the bench. The reason why he'll play a lot of games is because Van Dijk is 34 years old and Konaté has an injury record. And Konaté is leaving in the summer as well. So it's a completely different scenario. So he's going to accept sitting on the bench and play if Konaté is injured.
Yeah, but I don't think Van Dijk going to play every game.
I actually think, by the way, me and you know that Van Dijk, if he's fit, he plays every game for Liverpool. And him being 34 years old is better than all the centre-backs in the world at the current
I agree that he's better, but I don't think he's going to play every single game.
And I think, based on last season, Virgil van Dijk has played every single game for Liverpool, bar 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but now he's 34. I don't think he'll play every game.
Now, 1 year later, Don Husam on the Football Terrace is saying 1 year later, at the centre-back position, where Liverpool have added more players to play better position football than last year in terms of Kerkez, Frimpong, and the most important guy that plays position-based football, inverts. Virgil van Dijk now is going to take a step back and actually not play all the important games. Your pitch to Mark Guehi is...
I never said not the important games. You cannot change my argument and then shout and act like you're saying something that's right. You're not saying anything that's true.
Your pitch to Mark Guehi...
And you're changing my words. Yoga instruction won't work on me. I'll always interrupt. Don't change my statement and then build an argument.
Make your statement.
I never said Van Dijk will not play the important games. I said Van Dijk is 34 years old. He's headed into the season in a World Cup year as a 34-year-old football player. As things stand, logic dictates that he's not going to play every single week, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday, because his body won't allow him to do that. Now, Konaté is very injury prone, of which Arsenal don't have a problem with in their midfield or on their wing positions. Their problem is not being injury prone at all. So Konaté is very injury prone and Virgil van Dijk is 34 years old. Now Mark Guehi at Liverpool Football Club will play 45 to 50 games easily because we have deep runs in the cups always. And in the UEFA Champions League, when you're talking about selling it to a player, if we're playing Leipzig on a Wednesday, why the fuck should Van Dijk start? Tell me.
Leipzig.
In the group stages, it's not all difficult games. In the group stages, I have 5 difficult games that I consider like I'm the ultimate favorite to win.
By the way,
those games, all of them, you can play Guehi, Konaté, Guehi, Gomez, Adian.
Based on Konaté's last year, his injury record is not as bad. I am going to go by maybe old. I'm going to use the same argument. Maybe he'll get injured. But I don't think that a player will join a team basing it on a player getting injured. So Konaté is out of the window. There is not going to be an if there. Van Dijk, I don't believe that any important game, if Van Dijk is fit, is going to play.
Yeah, I agree. Van Dijk starts the important games. That's why he'll be rested in the non-important ones, which is my point.
Leipzig in the Champions League is important. And now, in my opinion, the same can be said for Eze, which is, I don't believe. I believe the midfield needs way more rotation than the defense. The 2 center-backs, literally, even at 34 years old, can start every game, bar some games. When I mean some games, I mean 5-6 games that are not very important in your season. Basically, what I mean is that yes, you are through in the Champions League. You can play your 3rd center-back or 4th center-back. But in the midfield,
I ask you a question.
Let me finish.
Who's shown the ability to rotate?
You interrupted.
Who's shown the ability to rotate? Tell me.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why Arteta might not rotate. Arteta doesn't have the quality to rotate. However, I have an argument for you. When both Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus were actually both fit, Arteta rotated and forced Kai Havertz into different positions. I believe any good manager, which is I believe Arteta is a good coach, knows, maybe not a good man management, but a good coach. Any good coach, when he have the quality and the quality is equal, he will rotate. But not center backs. Everyone knows that played football. The center back pairings, you never rotate them unless it's a shit game. And you know you're winning the game. Basically, you are playing, with all due respect, a League One team or a championship team, or you are through in the Champions League. In the league, midfielders get rotated even in some good games. By the way, because depending on the game, you actually change your formation. What I mean is that the midfield trio, for example, versus Sunderland, might be Rice, Odegaard, Eze. But the midfield trio versus Liverpool might be Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard. We know this, that the midfield can rotate if you have the quality. The problem with Arteta is that the quality was lacking the majority of the time. Last season, that when the Moreno started the season, shoulder injury, when he came in, you remember, he struggled in the beginning of the season. He didn't rotate at all. It was Partey, it was Rice, it was Odegaard.
Played against like Derby County in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, because he doesn't trust any right winger to play. That is his problem. And we criticize him for this. But in the midfield, actually, Arteta rotated in some league games. He rotated in the league games when Moreno went to be like someone who can play a little bit in the middle. He rotated. People criticize him. Fine. You criticize him. Maybe Moreno's not good. Maybe Moreno's not. But you're telling me that someone who has Eze, Rice, Zubamendi, Odegaard, and he has 50 to 60 games a season, is not going to rotate even against, with all due respect to everyone in the league. He is not going to rotate against a West Ham or a Sunderland. Who else? When a Sheffield United or a Leeds United, he will definitely rotate. And now it's up to the players to prove themselves who starts and who doesn't start. Same happens in every club, especially in the midfield. There are some players in the world that we know are undroppable. Fucking Mohamed Salah. It doesn't matter how stinker they drop. Mohamed Salah is going to start the next game. Why? He can win you. He can win you the game. Why?
Yeah, but I think for Arsenal, that as an example is Declan Rice. That is Bukayo Saka. That is Martin Odegaard.
Now Arteta is having. Sorry, Terry. Apologies, Terry. And one more last word. Now that Arteta has quality, I believe no one is going to be undroppable. I believe so.
Even when we bought quality,
and that's the point. The reason why Mo Salah is undroppable, good, bad, or indifferent, is you have no one else in that position anywhere near his level. Eze, some people will say he's better than Odegaard, others will say it's close, but no one can present an argument to say there is light year difference in either direction. If Liverpool had another right winger who is in and around the same level as Mo Salah, and Mo Salah dropped 9 stinkers on the bounce, he would be dropped. The difference is you have no one else that's near that capability. So I think that's the issue with this conversation. Is Messi never got dropped because no team he was ever had a player in his position that was anywhere near as good as him. So that's why it becomes a bit of a nonsensical argument, because it's about who can. Saka, he'll never get. There's no one on the right wing there that's near his level. That's why he never gets dropped. They bring in. I mean, Madueke as the backup isn't going to do it. But if Bowen came in as the backup and Saka went for a bad 4, 5, 6, 7 game period, Bowen could start. Because I think Saka's better, but I think they're much closer than Madueke and Saka. Let's do some of these super chats, though, boys. There's a lot of them to get through here.
Just know you both, I will remember this conversation. If I'm right, I'll never let it go. I promise you.
You're right about what? That he won't start or starts.
What do you mean, right?
Rodrygo says I'm going to stay at Real Madrid, and then Arsenal sign Eze and play him left wing, I'm never going to let you hear the end of it. I promise.
But what do you want Arsenal to? I don't understand. This is not you right or wrong.
There's no such thing as what you want Arsenal to do.
Hold on.
It's going to be Eze and Gyökeres or Rodrygo and Gyökeres.
By the way, you're a little bit annoyed and you keep interrupting. Okay, you keep saying the same. I'm trying to respond to you. Very simple. If Rodrygo stay at Real Madrid, that means there is no chance that Arsenal sign him. Like, there's no chance. Here is the chat. Here is where you're right. Wallah al-Azim, here is what you're right, Husam. If Arsenal sign Eze and Rodrygo's on the market and Arsenal don't even try for him. Now, I'm going to say on the stream and say, you are absolutely right. I'm going to say it here. Mark this date. July 2nd. if Eze is available and Rodrygo is available, if Arsenal go for both, right? Now the argument is correct. If Arsenal only go for one, don't tell me, oh, but he went to Bayern Munich. If Arsenal tried to sign Rodrygo and failed, that means Arsenal were trying. That is
this is about the conversation as well. I agree he can play on the left, and he may play on the left. And right now they're looking at him, plus they're looking at a left winger. That is according to Ornstein. But if they can't get 2 or 3 winger targets that move the needle, then they may say, well, we bought Eze to play out there in certain games, in certain scenarios, so we're going to put him out there more permanently. No one's saying you're 100% wrong. Let's not make this polarized like other platforms do. You could end up being right that that's where he plays. But as of right now, I can only go by the reports. They're looking at him plus left wingers. So I'm only open-minded to the fact that they're looking at both right now. Whether they sign them or not is a different conversation. This year, it's very weird that you've got that picture.
Oh, this is the Duarte Garcia guy, I think.
Yeah, but it's weird that you've got a picture of my big brother.
This is your big brother?
That's my brother. Picture of. That's very strange, mate. Change it. I'm not reading your comment. Why would you? I don't know where he's got the picture from. That's my big brother. That's fucking weird, bruv. Genuinely weird. It ain't my brother because I know it isn't. He doesn't live in that country, but that's weird, bruv. Get that changed. That's some weird stalker shit. And as much as I don't do this, that's family, bruv. Fucking freak. Yeah, fuck about my family. Creativity was Arsenal's issue last season. We only had Odegaard and he missed 3 months and came back to Moreno up top. Eze would bring a lot to fix this problem. Agree. Fantastic signing. There is no doubt about that. Absolutely fantastic signing. Absolutely is. This here says how Arsenal are moving. I wouldn't be shocked if they finished outside the top 5 next season. They are dilly-dallying on transfers in the Premier League. That's not efficient. Their targets could come in late.
Can I answer you, Marcy, with one thing, Marcy? Arsenal with the current squad at the current players, adding Zubamendi, is still the 3rd best team in the country, at least. Marcy. So Liverpool have improved, Chelsea have improved a little bit, Man City have improved a little bit, but Arsenal, you forget that this Arsenal with injuries still finished 2nd. This is where I say the goalposts are moving. Arsenal at the current moment are not the 5th best team in the country, broski.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. I think if all these, this is the thing with it as well. This has been the first. Speed has become a real big focus for football teams this year. Fans, I agree that getting deals early is good, but at the same time, the right profile is the most important. I'll give you an example. Liverpool are getting praised right now. Imagine their free signings don't work, but they got them done early. What will people say then? It's the right profile first. Then I think you've got to be looking at the price second, because if you overpay, you run out of money, etc. Equal, and then you've got to be looking at the speed. They all play an important part. You might sign the 3 right players for the right price, but if they're not integrated into your system and it takes them 4 or 5 months to fit in, you've also made a mistake. I don't think Arsenal are in that realm of too late yet. Their preseason kicks off in like a week's time. It does feel when you read that Eze seems like a deal that could happen quite soon. They are all, but they just need to decide on what striker they want or get the price where they want it. And they're still in no rush for that striker because both want them as a team. The Rodrygo deal was always going to take this long if they waited, because they've got to wait for Real Madrid to be at the Club World Cup. So I don't think they're overly dilly-dallying. They've got a lot of their backup business and a lot of their fringe player business done already. So they can now focus on the 3 main signings. 2 of them look relatively close, as an example. And then Rodrygo's a different kettle of fish. So I wouldn't agree with that overly at all. Mo, what do you want Arsenal fans to do? Sit and cry? Bro, people have a life before football.
What did I say?
No one said that, by the way. And Mo's been defending Arsenal. This is very weird.
What is this? I don't understand what you're saying, my man. It's an L there. It's a massive L. I don't understand what you're talking about. Really.
This here says, this was about United earlier. It's not Watkins versus Gyökeres. It's Watkins versus Højlund.
What does that mean, Luke?
Well, I think what Lou was referring to is back then. That super chat was actually made about 40 minutes ago, and I think that a lot of people were saying that how can you
Lou's
go?
a United fan, no?
Yes. What Lou is saying is that a lot of people are laughing at United and how can you go from Gyökeres to Watkins? We're not. We'd be going from Højlund to Watkins. We also understand the situation that we're. It's funny though, actually, because I saw a lot of Liverpool fans and rival fans yesterday talking about United being disgusting because we've made loads of people redundant and we're using all that money we've saved to buy football players. And I sat there and had to laugh a little bit because that's what we publicly stated was the reason. It wasn't like we said we're making people redundant because we want to keep for unknown reasons. And then our owners kept the money for themselves. They said we can't buy players without reducing their outgoings. And people are like, it can't. I actually heard, I think it was Craig from the Anfield Agenda. And I mean this with no disrespect. He's like, those hardworking people lost their jobs so the club could buy players. On surface level, I get what he's saying. The problem is, just do the maths. If we keep spending more money than we earn, eventually we go bankrupt. And do you know what happens then? Everybody loses their job. No one has a job because you run out of money. I say this to all the YouTubers that are saying that. Whatever you earn a month, spend £5,000 more than it and see how long your YouTube channel lasts for. Just do that for a year and see what happens to you. It's crazy logic. But yeah, again, United get the same as Arsenal. It's like, you're going for... Listen, Watkins isn't my dream player, but he is a light years ahead of Rasmus Højlund. Best straight facts show of the week makes my night shift at work go very quickly. Also, there are 60 games or so. There's enough rotation to start Eze. I agree. There are potentially up to 60 plus possible games for Arsenal. There are more than enough minutes to get any player we sign already have to enough play. Romano said there hasn't been any bids from Arsenal for Madueke to Chelsea. He is just an interest to Arsenal.
Okay, Wayne, using your logic, we shouldn't talk about Rodrygo or Eze because there's no bid. Allow it, man. You guys just want to accept the shit that you want to accept.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, to be honest with you, like, there are Plattenberg said who I don't like when people believe the source when they like it and don't believe it when they don't like it. Like Plattenberg said that Arsenal. By the way, the fact that you inquired about, like, Arsenal inquired about a price, basically you're actually saying how much should we bid, basically. Like,
yeah. No, I agree. I think there has been an offer of sorts. You know me, Wayne. I don't beat about the bush. I don't like this whole unofficial, official inquiry. It's there. The rejection thing, like right now, Gyökeres is rejecting Man United by saying he prefers a move to Arsenal. It is a rejection. Not everyone likes that language. I'm just old school, and it is what it is. But a rejection can turn into a yes. You know, it is what it is. Fergie bought Sheringham as a replacement for Cantona and then bought York the season after, effectively taking Sheringham's spot to compete for trophies. You need a large, capable squad. Agree. Edward, thank you for becoming a member and for gifting out 10 memberships to other users today. That's legendary behavior. So thank you very much.
Big up, Edward.
Ifs don't work in football. The moment a team starts questioning if this, if that, they already know it's a mistake. If you're questioning Odegaard's ability, go get a better player then. No, that's not true. Ifs are
Thank you. Husam's right at the end of the super
hang on, no. Do you know why you're wrong, Husam? You've made a hypocrite of yourself because it was 3 weeks ago on this show when you said the words if Arsenal lose their opening game, their whole season is going to fall apart. So you yourself use ifs when you're assessing football.
No, he's talking about players, not results. I said results. I'm talking about results. Result is something different from players.
But your results are also based on if the signings of players work, if the manager's tactics work, if pre-season is good. Every part of football is full of if, buts, and maybes. I don't like this notion of us people consistently trying to take it out of the game. It exists at every level. Every level. You've said it. If we Liverpool sign this person, we are outright favourites. That's an if, that's a but, and that's a maybe. It's crazy. Come on now. We all do it. But we seem to want to pick and choose when we can do it. It's funny how the narrative changes. Arsenal don't have depth. You buy Norgard, you should be signing starters to the bench, the current first 11. But you buy a starter, you can't bench Odegaard. Scotty, I do agree. This time last week, not on this particular show, I don't think, but the narrative was Arsenal shouldn't be signing bench players. You should be signing players that can start in the first team to either push the starters to the bench or to put first team players on the bench for depth. Arsenal look like they're going to do that, and then it gets ridiculed to how are you going to pull that off. I do agree. Ornstein said Eze is a separate deal, you fraud.
Okay.
Abraham here says Con Husam pretends as reasonable until you disagree.
Not you, not Wayne, not anyone in the chat would survive 2 minutes YouTube show with me. Big up though.
I honestly don't think any of the big sick coaches will absolutely guarantee a start, no matter what to any player. You kind of lose leverage as a coach. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a guarantee. Husam worried because he knew Arsenal's attack has been crap for way too long. Now they are adding quality. He's starting to fold like a lawn chair.
Oh yeah, I'm completely worried about the club that haven't won a league title in 23 years.
But you did say earlier that if they signed Eze, Rodrygo, and Gyökeres, they're favourites, right?
No, I said if they sign just Gyökeres and Rodrygo, they're favourites.
So if you think they're favourites, so again, I'll get your logic. You're defending champions. You want to win the league.
We're the underdog.
If they sign those two players, you will then become worried about Arsenal. Surely, if you then think they're going to beat you, it must worry you. You're going to lose your title to them then.
Mo, why are you laughing, Mo? Because when you laugh, I start to laugh. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. We need to have a serious show, okay? If Arsenal signed Rodrygo and Gyökeres as their favorites, and we're underdogs, that's just the truth. Mo, why are you laughing? It's true. Rodrygo's signing has just as much as impact as the Wirtz signing. He's an unreal player, 100%.
Yes.
As things stand, the most reliable journalist says Eze is separate from a winger signing, but hey, Husam is 100% sure that it's not.
Wayne, I'll make a deal with you specifically because we're both gym bros. You get me? I'll make a deal with you specifically.
Hang on, you don't look like Wayne, bruv. You don't look like Wayne.
Bro, yeah, I don't. I said we're gym bros. You don't look like Wayne. There are people that are slim. There are people that look like Wayne. There are people that look like bodyguards, power lifters. Like at the end of the day, as long as you take care of your health, that's what matters.
You're both in
anyway.
The
I
gym.
said gym bros doesn't matter. Now let me say something to Wayne.
Wait. You're in the gym. Right? He's on the squat machine. You're at the vending machine, bro. Come on, you ain't gym bros here.
No, I'm not. I lift probably heavier weights than Wayne and than you. So the thing with this. Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. I'm have power. I'm more
okay.
Of a
Sponsored show, gym competition, then a football YouTube show in the gym. Terry versus Husam.
If I ever come to the UK and I do like, I'll happily do this with Terry.
I agree. I think. Sorry, I just want to answer. I do think you can lift more than me. I don't think you can lift more than Wayne. Is what I was saying.
No, I can because I'm a power lifter, Terry.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so the thing is, Wayne, I'll make a deal with you right now. If you sign Eze and Rodrygo, I'll apologize to you. If you only sign one of them, you'll apologize to me. That's it. Very basic. Very basic deal. No bullshit, no stipulations, no ifs, no buts, no maybes. You sign both of them, I will come on this channel and I will say, Wayne, I'm sorry, you were right. And 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from whenever on Straight Facts, you have to send a super chat and say, Husam, your ball knowledge is superior to mine, and I apologize. That's it.
I've got another way we can do this. Wayne, obviously in America, let us know what you can. When you say lift, we're going to go with squats, right? Because that's what real people in the gym. Squats is more important than bench, right? Squats is the real measurement of a strong person. So let's do 3. So
or you could say deadlifts, like back.
Let's do squats, deadlift, and bench. You can both go gym and film it. Putting the weights on and lifting it 3, and this is what I'm going to set the parameters. It's 3 sets of 5. Whoever lifts the most weight in totality wins. So 3 sets of 5, and the most weight in totality wins on squats, deadlift, bench. 3 sets of 5. The most weight in totality is considered the strongest. How about that?
Love it. I can't wait.
Let's go.
So I've got to wait for Wayne to confirm, and then you can film it this week, send it in. Neither of you will know the results. You can send it to me. I'll edit it up and then we'll play it in the show.
Let's go.
And the Football Terrace will buy the winner their club's new shirt for the season as a prize. Are we up for that, ladies and gentlemen?
Fair.
Let us know.
Fair.
And I will be very fair with. Well, we won't be able to lie because you guys will know what you lifted. You'll see.
You gotta be a video. You have to have a video. There's no lying here.
Wow! Look at Wayne said you can pull out though. Wayne says he can bench 315, squat.
I'm assuming this is pounds, of course, not kilograms.
Yes,
Pounds, yes, pounds, of course.
Because he can't bench a third of a ton. Jesus.
Yeah, because I don't use pounds. So how much is that? And let me
Okay,
check.
so I'll tell you now. So that means he benches. I can do that now. Pounds. Do you do kilos? Yeah. Because I do. So pounds to kilos.
Okay, bench he beats me. Squat I'd beat him. Deadlift will be close, but bench you'd beat me.
Then we're going to do the competition. Just to put that into context, again, I've never. You two are both bigger men than me, muscular wise. Anyway, I don't know about the old trouser snake, but I'm not that strong at the minute because I've had about 2 years of barely going. But I'm only benching like 105 kilos. If I do 3 sets of 5, about 105 kilos is what I'd be pulling in. So I don't even know what that comes in at in pounds. It's going to be crap, isn't it? Let me just see what it comes out in pounds. That's not bad. 231 pounds. That ain't bad, actually. That's
good. That's good.
Considering, honestly, I checked on my membership thing where I go into my gym. I've only been to the gym in the last 12 months, like 52 times. It's not that much, really. So yeah, but we'll do that comp. Wayne, if you're up for it, mate, if you can film it and send it in, we'll edit it together and we'll do a little competition between the two of you. Husam, doner kebabs are not weightlifting. Mm-hmm.
I don't eat doner kebabs. I don't even like Turkish food.
I like a shish kebab. I don't eat doner. As long as you take care of health, man likes up a cigarette.
That was ironic, to be honest.
Listen, man, my journey with cigarettes is a crazy one. I used to smoke the heaviest brand of cigarettes. Now I'm at the lightest brand, and I plan to quit before the end of the year. Next week, I'm getting nicotine-only cigarettes. That don't have any carbon monoxide or tar in it, so I do intend on quitting, of course.
When my dad
Trevor, I just have to tell you,
Trevor, just so you know something, obesity and stuff like that leads to a lot more health problems than smoking. Like obesity is by far the worst thing. That's why I had to get rid of a lot of weight first.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, look, this is what I would say. When my dad gave up smoking, it took about 6 months after he stopped. But the one thing he said, you'll notice this, you'll enjoy it. He said the taste of food was just so much better because his taste buds kind of came back. So health-wise aside, it's good for food. Terry, please stop cooking my bro Husam. Sorry, bro.
Terry did not cook me.
Okay. If Arsenal had even 1/3 of the amount of injuries as they did last year, Eze will start every match. This is also true. Thank you to Singer J for being a member. Wayne here says, nobody said you shouldn't talk about it, Sam. You only hear to respond. You don't listen to understand.
You could do it, chat. You could do it. Look at that shit. 6X large I used to wear. That's me now.
Wow.
I only hear to I listen to understand and then I respond.
Cam here says, so he benches more. You bench more than you squat?
No, I squat more than I bench. That's why I said he'd beat me in the bench.
Okay. Terry, be honest. Why do you twerk so much for Arsenal? But listen, it's because I don't believe a lot of people's criticism a lot of the time. They say things and it's a massive contradiction to what I've heard them say about other teams. It flies in the face of, like, you get this whole I'm right thing. I'm right. I told you we wouldn't get Rodrygo. Yeah, but you also said you wouldn't get this guy. You also said you wouldn't get Rice. You also said you wouldn't get this. You also said you wouldn't get that. And it's this notion that you're kind of always right. I think the media, the way they've depicted Arsenal in the last few years is wrong. But the biggest reason that I do it, and I've said it before, it's partly not about Arsenal. It's about Manchester United. But everybody wants to ignore this part because it doesn't suit their narrative, which is ironic because I'm transparent with my agenda, which is why my channel grows and why the majority of people that listen to me trust me. I do it because I want credibility when I call the media out when it comes to my own football club. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers who defends his club from lies from the media, but joins in and perpetuates them when it's against rival clubs. I don't like that behavior. So that's the reason why I do it. Simple as that. And equally, I've said if they sign Madueke for the wrong money, it's bad. Or if he's a starter, it's bad. I've said they're making a mistake if they pick Šeško over Gyökeres. Said that. So it isn't always twerking. Every game they dropped points in last year, ripped into them, criticized them. The only difference was I wasn't using the massive hurty words that people wanted me to. So, yeah, that's it. If you don't like it, don't watch at the end of the day. But you're a Liverpool fan, it looks like. Giving you more praise in the last 8 years than I've ever given Liverpool. Sorry, than I've ever given Arsenal. Twice in the last 8 years, I've referred to you as the best team in the world currently. Never said that about Arsenal. I predicted you in the last 8 years to win the league 5 times. Not once have I predicted at the start of the season Arsenal to win the league. I've spoke about one of your current players, as being in the top 3 to 4 potential GOATs of the Premier League. I've never done that about an Arsenal player in the last 10 years, although you haven't had any as good. I've defended Liverpool left, right, and centre from claims that the league was of bad quality. That was the only reason that they won it. I've praised the likes of FSG for their seamless transition between managers, showing that there is a new way of running football clubs. And the first team in England to demonstrate they're doing it to a high level has been Liverpool, because so far we haven't seen Arsenal transition to another manager. You've had praise there. The same comes with Man City, called them the best team in the world for a long time, said that their team that did the 4P after everything else came before it, one of the greatest European sides of all time. Defended players like Erling Haaland from all the ridiculous media pundits and abuse. Defended KDB from never being recognised for one of the true great midfielders of the Premier League up until this season, but I was doing it years ago. So this idea that I only say good things about Arsenal is perpetuated by negative Arsenal fans online that don't want to have a debate and argue the points. They just want to throw out ad hominem attacks. And of course, by trolls we don't take seriously. That's the long and short of it. And if people stopped lying about Arsenal or twisting the truth, they wouldn't have trending stories so much. And I will be honest about you. If the trending story is City, I'll go to it. But if the trending story is Arsenal, which you haters make it more often than not, I talk about it more. So stop lying about Arsenal. Stop twisting the truth. Stop going 1 minute they need to stop buying bench players. And then when they get linked to players that are going to start, you start saying it's impossible and it's stupid and it's a waste of money. Stop making it a trending talking point and I'll stop reacting as much. It's on you. Sung a lot of Arsenal YouTubers moaning about our window. Rory and yourself are the only level-headed creators I've seen so far. Big up to the panel. A big hug from Jason. I hate to say it, but Liverpool, City, United. But it's Liverpool, City, United, and Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. United above Arsenal is just, you're doing too much now.
That's I can't see United being in the top 4 next year. Yeah, it's I can't.
No, you can finish top 4, but or even top 5, but not above Arsenal. Like you need to chill on that.
No, I don't think we'll finish above them. I don't think we'll make the top 4 either, personally. Terry, did you see that video? Yeah, I have seen the video where Igal. It wasn't Aaron. I don't know who the guy was that was slagging off Igal. My advice to Igal, I'll give it to him privately as well, is stop working with and streaming with people that, and fair play, well done to Aaron for calling the guy out and saying don't make it personal. I know Igal can defend himself, he's a grown man, but he should just keep himself away from people that speak about him in that way. Me and Igal have had our arguments where I've shouted at him, he shouted back. We've had arguments where we've got at each other, but it's never been to that level of being personal. And I haven't ever said this publicly, I am going to say it now. Igal should steer clear of people that speak about him in that way. They really should. Fair play to Aaron for calling it out, because he should. I don't know who that other man is, and he probably despises me if he hates Igal. But it's just there's no need to be getting personal. As I say, when it comes to the Arsenal side of things, there's a lot of Arsenal fans who I think twist the truth about their club, and I think are overly negative. But I'm not getting personal about them. The only time I ever did it was the only time I ever do it is where I'm taking the mick out of people I consider friends. So I might have a little dig at this guy, dig at that person. They're people I know. And if they've ever come to me and said, I don't like that joke you made, or I don't like how you framed me, I'll always do my best to not do it again. But I would never do something. I would never deliberately or intentionally try to be that malicious towards someone, because that ain't right. So yeah, I did see it. Thought it was horrendous. Stay away from those people, Igal. They're not your friends. It's so funny that Mo has the energy now for rotating players, but yesterday he said it's a fantasy world for Partey to rotate with
Yeah,
Zubimendi.
Ashraf, I think you missed my point. Me and Husam spoke about this. It is very hard for you to pay 250K for a 32 years old with the injury record he has just for rotation. That is so different. Eze is on top of his game. Zubimendi is on top of his game. Rice is the same. They are at their peak. Odegaard is the one dropping. So Ashraf, I know I'm not sure if you're still watching or not. All I have to tell you, there is a massive difference. And also, Thomas Partey himself wanted a pay rise at the age of 32. That doesn't happen unless you're a superstar, unless you're like, with all due respect, a Steven Gerrard at his pump or a Kevin De Bruyne. No one gets a pay rise at 32 years old. Only Mohamed Salah got it because he got a 50 GA season. And Liverpool were hesitant about it. Even for Mohamed Salah, Ashraf. That is my response to you.
Mo, what's happened to Inter?
We're finished, Banter.
We're finished.
We're not going to be as bad as Man United. Oh, we're finished. You know what we did? Imagine if Man United sacked Alex Ferguson, literally, at that time, or someone like this, or sacked the manager and literally hired Rio Ferdinand to manage the club. A triple-winning Rio Ferdinand.
Oh, God.
You know the coach, guys, I'm just going to tell you something. I'm not going to move on quickly. You know the coach Inter has 11 games on the senior as a coach. Just 11. At least Oli had a couple of seasons overseas. 11 games, Allah, it's banter shit. Anyway, move on.
As things, sorry, I already done that super chat.
When we're fucking signing Hoyland on top of this shit.
You are not going to guarantee a start. It's not like Messi or Ronaldo. What did Liverpool tell Guehi? Obviously, we challenged that already. Great super chat. God forbid Arteta changes his style of play. That's also a theory that no one's even entertaining, that there's an adaptation to the way they play football.
The possibility of this is very small. But
I agree. Eze to Arsenal, Rice plus Odegaard, drop deep. Simple.
Yes, Alan, because he signed Zubimendi to not give him a role at the team. Yes. No.
Mark Guehi, come to Liverpool in your prime to sit on the bench for 12 months. You'll play when VVD needs a break. That's a shit pitch.
I didn't say when Van Dijk needs a break. I said Van Dijk is 34 years old, which means he won't be able to play every single week. And Konate is very injury prone. So you're going to play a lot of games.
When's the wedding for Husam and Mo?
Oh, fuck off.
Straight after the wedding between me and your mom.
Hey, so you are okay. People get too cocky online. They forget what it feels like to get smacked. Online trolls are too comfortable. Happens to Igal too recently. Look, as I say, I don't know the guy. I want to put this message out there as well. No one go and give that guy abuse either, because then all you're doing is perpetuating the situation. So that isn't the remedy for things like that. It's about staying away from people like it, if I'm being honest with you. Big up, Mo. Small down a bit, Husam. Small down a bit, Husam. You are too cocky, Mr. Know-it-all.
I don't think I'm know-it-all. I've had everyone, listen, everyone here has made bad takes, has had wrong takes before. Nothing wrong with that.
I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Of course I have. Don't usually send super chats, but just want to say I appreciate all three of your content and conversations, though I disagree with all
at times. I like this.
That's normal. That's normal. Like, you absolutely should.
I appreciate you, D Shadow. Look, the biggest problem is, and I'll say this. Look, this is the thing that frustrates, and even Mo called it out yesterday. This is the problem that I have. The issue that I have is a lot of the times people just listen to who the messenger is instead of the message. Like, if, as an example, and Mo said this 2 days ago, people now think just because Inter are trash that affects like Mo's football opinion. That has nothing to do with it. We can have different opinions on stuff. Like, example, I think Gyökeres is a lot better than Sesko. I think Rodrygo is a great signing. I think Eze is a great signing. If I say that Kepa is a shit signing, I'm entitled to that opinion. I just think he's a shit keeper. That's all. Like,
same, people tell Terry and stuff.
By the way, you can go look at, like, one thing that even Terry will tell you about me is I always keep the same energy. Sesko was linked to my football club before we signed him. And I said he's literally another version of Darwin Núñez. I don't want him. So why would I change my opinion? So that's the thing.
Yeah, actually, we again, if somebody is truly authentic, then there should be lots of opinions that people disagree with. Like, Terry's only nice to Arsenal all the time. well, why have I had not abuse? I've had loads of criticism this week for saying that I think if Arsenal sign Eze, I think he will force Odegaard to the bench. Arsenal fans are coming at me left, right, and centre for saying that. Ironically, most of the Arsenal fans that typically hate my opinions on Arsenal would probably agree with that view if Eze signs centrally that he will oust him. But they won't advocate that message because they don't want to be seen siding with me. And then the other Arsenal fans go, I think you're wrong. But what you should never have, if listen, my nan used to say this to me, or words to the effect of, you can't be everybody's cup of tea all the time, otherwise you'd be a mug. And that's the long and the short of it. So
what a saying. That's a great saying.
It's the truth, and it's that. It's like when I I put content out on my new channel, Terry Flewis TV, and what I notice is so funny. I've done quite a few videos praising Liverpool, and the same people that go, "Oh, I love it when you're nice about Arsenal," go, "Fuck you for praising Liverpool." The people that go, "Oh, thanks for being unbiased about my club, Liverpool," they were attacking me for what I said about Chelsea the other day and Arsenal, because I said that Gittins is quite a good deal. I've got a Chelsea video dropping later actually, which I'll be intrigued to get everyone's opinions on too. Why are Arsenal fans so polarized? They have the most delusional positive fans and the most vitriolic hater fans. There's got to be some reason.
I think we're all capable of criticizing our football club. I think the lack of because just as much as the players are frustrated, the Arsenal fans are frustrated. The problem is when you are emotionally invested in a title race and you win nothing, it just feels so draining to you. So you feel like you have to protect everything your club does. By the way, next games, and this is where I'm gonna be objective and fair, and Terry will tell you this. We had this with Liverpool fans 3 years ago. Quadruple charge summer was some of the worst time I ever experienced doing content as a Liverpool fan, because you couldn't call out anything the club does. Like, I called out the Nunes situation, I called out the Carvalho signing, the Calvin Ramsey signing. I was very unhappy with the transfer signings we had. And Liverpool fans at the time, because we got 91 points and didn't win the league, were just so on edge defending everything the club do. And I think that's the problem right now, with Arsenal in reverse. They're doing what we did 4 years ago.
We've got a few more Superchats. We're ending the show fairly soon. It's been I really enjoyed today's show. A couple of bits of breaking news to bring you. The first is, according to reports coming out of Italy, is that a full agreement between Sancho and Juventus is now close. The deal will accelerate in the next few days. Juve and United are aligned with the £25 million fee. So that could be coming to a conclusion. And I will say this, if we can pull off a little 25 million plus the 5 million that this is me doing a Staffy here, wink wink nudge nudge, I want a lot of apologies if we end up getting 20 to 25 million for him, because I said the deal that Ineos did was good, that they get 5 million for not selling him, and if we end up with 5 million more than Chelsea would have given us, and he's not in our league, I'll say well done there to Ineos. I will. I want a well done just for that one deal for Ineos, people. And if you didn't hear the sarcasm in my voice, touch grass, dickhead. That's not me talking to Staffy. That's me talking to anyone who didn't hear the sarcasm. Husam, my mum would eat you alive. Ooh.
Of course. That's what I expect anyway.
We're getting into stiff. Do you guys understand the reference of Stifler's mum? You never watched American Pie?
I actually never watched that movie.
Wow, you got to watch it. Especially, man, your age, Mo. You'll get a lot of it.
What do you mean your age? You're my age. What does that mean? You're my
man,
age.
your age. You're literally his age, you fraud.
You're my age.
No, we're not the same age. I'm at least 5 years younger than you.
Okay. I'm not gonna reveal your age. I'm not gonna reveal your age. You're born 80. I know you're born 85. I'm born 84. Okay, it's months between us.
You're looking old, man. No, I'm joking. But yeah, exactly. People our age, like American Pies. Trust me, it'll hit, man. You've got to watch it. How do you feel about England next year? Meh, right now. Meh. Crayon Dave says last season was the first season we went more defensive. How is it unlikely he would not go back to a more
great super chat? I love the super chat. If Arteta goes more offensive, you are cooking, my brother. I love that super chat, and Arteta should listen to you. Actually, I'm all for it, because me and Mo actually disagree on this, but I think Arsenal's best season, football wise and style wise, and even results wise, was the year where you absolutely destroyed the fuck out of teams, but then Saliba got injured and you ended up losing the league. I think that not last season or the year before that, your first ever title challenge season. I think that was unbelievable football from Arsenal. You should go. You should go back to that.
Listen, everyone who is tuning in, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one. We didn't get onto all of our subjects today, but that's the nature of the beast. The super chats kind of dictated the direction we went in. And listen, I thank you for the support. I thank you to everyone who signed up as a member today. Mo, Husam, always a pleasure, boys, to sit here and talk football with the two of you. This is going to redirect you to Hussam's channel now. So make sure you go and support my brother over there. But until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.